Hang in there, Delbo. Wait, what's this? Manipulation? Chaos? A world gone mad?
You can't stop us. We hold the power now.
What?
What role will AI play in the historic election year of 2024? More than 4 billion people in over 50 countries could vote in elections pivotal for democracy. In January, Taiwan elected William Lai of the pro-sovereignty Democratic Progressive Party as the 16th president. However, behind the scenes, Taiwan faced waves of disinformation and misinformation in the lead-up to the election.
According to a global comparative research, Taiwan ranked as the most attacked by overseas influence in terms of the cyber attacks and disinformation campaigns. And when we are talking about the overseas or international influences, I think we are mostly talking about China.
China views the self-governed island of Taiwan as a renegade province that should be unified with the mainland.
China has been reiterating that it will take over Taiwan and by force if necessary. But military actions are more costly. If they can find a candidate that's more agreeable to the unification policies, that would be more efficient and more easier for them. With the advancement of the AI technology, it is certain that they will use AI to further advance their disinformation campaigns.
What about this sort of similar tactic coming from the West?
I think other countries, they don't have the same motivation to use that against Taiwan.
台湾问题是中国的内政，台湾地区选举是中国的地方事务，不容任何外。
While China denies interfering with Taiwan's elections and calls its interactions purely an internal Chinese matter, monitoring agencies say there was a surge in fake news targeting Taiwan's ruling party and its presidential candidate, William Lai.
Those actors who deliberately spread those or make those disinformation, make those generative AI or make those like a deepfake video, that our current government is corrupt and they are failing our economy, failing the people. Our goal is to find and disclose those actors.
Doublethink Labs specializes in researching foreign influence operations and their impacts. Their team uses an AI tool, the Little Pink Detector, which scans social media for inauthentic and coordinated behaviors spreading fake news.
Retweeting CNS, you'll see two extremely thick lines right here. They turn out to be fake accounts.
FOD.
If you look at the profile picture, there's many versions of this on the internet. So somebody's wedding photo, and they've used some kind of technique to change the face a little bit. So that's the first indicator. And coordinated posting time, posting virtually only in the morning, in breaks on weekends. And whoever's operating this account is also operating other accounts. You log into Michelle, retweet these two retweets, then log into 63ANZ.
How do you discern that this misinformation is from foreign actors or from within Taiwan?
This is a very common question. This is also something that we are very, very careful. For instance, that we found a group of the Facebook fan page, they are spreading a lot of content targeting our election, but none of their admin is actually from Taiwan. And most of them are from Cambodia, Malaysia, China, other places. Of course, you can say that maybe they are people, Taiwanese living in Cambodia, who care about our election. But when you see that there's a huge fake accounts, they are also controlled together and put in the resource to it, you know that clearly this is a foreign interference to our own election.
Doublethink Lab are not the only ones fighting misinformation.
Hey!
Ho Hui-an has been targeting falsehoods in the news for over 4 years with the Taiwan Fact Check Center, TFC.
Yes!
Your job was something to do with like busting fake news, right?
Yes, yes. I'm fact checker. So we fact check like misinformation, disinformation, and bursting the lies and rumor. We also encourage our audience or users to like share the problematic or suspicious information with us so we can maybe verify for them.
I mean, I guess there's a thing, right? It's identifying and then stopping the spread.
Exactly. If you stop sharing, that's already a big help.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
Okay, so let's see if I can stop my losing streak. Yes!
TFC uses AI to optimize their fact-checking process. I was interested to learn how.
So welcome to Taiwan Fact Check Center.
Thank you. This is HQ.
We fact check political news and also all the other things are related to public interest. So let me show you around.
Cool, thank you.
Let's check some election rumors, whether they're true or false.
Hui An's colleague, Mary Ma, accesses TFC's chatbot on the Line messaging app. She types in keywords of a rumor circulating on the internet.
那最近就有个台湾的首富郭台铭的一封信，好像是说他支持某一个候选人。
Within seconds, a report appears.
Right, so there we go. It is false.
Yeah. 然后还有我们这个功能啊，是可以把这个 report share 给你的朋友。
Oh.
Yeah. 如果你的朋友也收到这样的传言，你想要赶快跟他说这个是 false， 这个是假的。
So if you want to win a bet,
I told you it's false. Here's proof.
Yeah. 对。
TFC confronts hundreds to thousands of rumors daily. They also utilize AI to check if videos are deepfakes, like this one, depicting then presidential candidate William Lai praising his opponents.
两个都是施政的国家领导人，所以两个对的人。
他说他们两个都是非常适任的领导人，这个 deepfake 的 AI tool 去帮我们侦测。那结果侦测出来呢，结果当然就是 fake。
On the 13th of January 2024, William Lai was elected president in spite of the disinformation against him. Did the use of AI to counter disinformation neutralize AI's overall impact on the election? I'm not sure if AI is helping or hurting democracy. In 2023, Andrew Gray ran for a seat in Parliament, representing a constituency in the north of England. He claimed to be Britain's first AI-powered candidate.
Hello.
Andrew surveyed his constituents on a wide range of issues and used an AI tool to find common ground.
For years, I've been using this AI tool called Polis, and it's found consensus on very contentious issues between people of vastly different perspectives. The popular narrative was people in the rural areas, they don't like to have their countryside ruined with wind turbines. Not so. 70% of people wanted to see more onshore wind.
Once the AI tool mapped out constituents' views visually, Andrew could make sense of them. This helped him draft a manifesto for his campaign, what he describes as a people's manifesto.
What I was trying to do was to bring back true democracy and to be a representative of everybody.
While Andrew lost the elections, we will probably see more candidates use AI in novel ways as AI becomes more prevalent. My next stop is where a high-stakes election is set to unfold, the USA. Every 4 years, America chooses its president through an intense marathon of rallies, debates, and ads. It's an action-packed saga fueled by big money, with campaigns chasing votes and fundraising around the clock. Mike Nellis is a veteran campaigner with heavyweight clients like President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. Mike uses AI to make his campaign work more efficient.
You give it a little bit about who you are and your background, you talk about your issues, you talk about how you refer to your opponent, and any additional talking points that you have.
Mike's Quilla app uses generative AI to draft fundraising and outreach emails in the tone and style of a political candidate.
You can choose the length of the email, which will keep it a medium. You can choose the tone that you want, hopeful but direct. And then you can choose the urgency that you want. And then you go ahead and click Create First Draft. Dear first name, 24 hours until my fundraising deadline on Tuesday. I'm asking for your donation now to help us ensure every Minnesotan has access to quality, affordable healthcare.
Wow, that's very efficient.
It's pretty cool.
What do you think of the impact AI has had on American politics and democracy?
Well, I think that generative AI is probably going to augment every fabric of society regardless of what we do, right? For us, we're trying to save people time and create practical solutions to make their lives easier, but you're going to find people in the shadows who are creating deepfakes and disinformation campaigns. But the thing that I worry the most about is a foreign government that has no vested interest in who wins the election, but cares about eroding trust in our democracy and in our institutions, using it to do so.
Over at MIT Media Lab, they're studying how deepfakes can undermine trust and manipulate society.
We do need school reform, and we do need accountability. What we need more than anything else, though, is more money into the school system.
Research assistants Nikhil Singh and Aruna Sankara Narayanan are trying to make deepfakes of politicians more convincing.
So that's fake?
That's right.
But they're not trying to create disinformation. They're studying what makes deepfakes believable to identify cues that distinguish real political speeches from fakes.
So one challenge with this video is that you can actually see the head is moving from side to side, but the microphone is actually static. So in order to match those together, we have to simulate the effect of the moving head movement.
Right, so it's like
Exactly, that's right, yes.
They say cooking up a convincing deep fake requires a blend of multiple ingredients.
So there's a lot of little tricks that you can do, paying attention to a lot of details. Yeah, the emotion of the speaker. This is actually the setting of the presidential debates, and there's a news channel symbol on the corner. Biden's kind of dressed formally, and he doesn't seem very animated, like he's just making a policy statement.
Marijuana usage should and will be legalized at the federal level. We already support decriminalization.
Currently, marijuana usage is legal in many states in the US, but not at the federal level. So the fake information is very subtle.
Nikhil and Aruna's research partner, Matt Crow, has been monitoring the impact of deepfakes on American politics.
Leading up to the primary election in New Hampshire, and there was a robocall of Joe Biden essentially saying, don't waste your vote now. Hold your vote to the actual election in November. Okay, so this was trying to convince voters to not actually show up, and that's human effort to really create a story and narrative that's going to be effective at deceiving people. And that's where it can get dangerous.
Matt says, in order to make sense of a world full of deep fakes, we need to draw on skills we learned growing up.
So when you were a kid, you maybe looked in the newspaper and saw this game, which is what's the difference between these two images? And there'd be maybe 4 or 5 things different. What that was a kind of instance of visual reasoning and critical visual reasoning. Usually there's a lot of contextual cues that we have to evaluate. One of the reasons we might expect is that Taylor Swift's not going to send explicit images of herself and put it online. So we have that context, and we already know that's going to be absurd. And so it gets back to the most classic thing for any media literacy and any individual is you got to know the source of where that content's coming from.
So seeing is believing still real in this age of deepfake?
It actually goes, seeing is believing, but feeling is the truth. It's seeing, but it's also hearing, it's maybe touching, it's the full experience, how it's all connected together, and not just a single video, but how you make sense of something. So that's the experience, and that's what we need to remember.
Do you have an update on the patient's heart condition?
Why play a doctor when you can be one? Let AI empower you.
Do you have an update on the patient's heart condition?
My scans show thickening of the muscular wall and reduced LVOT velocity.
Wow!
Wanna be a lawyer?
Your Honor, my client is innocent of all the charges. Delbo?
I've analyzed 200 years of cases, including the State v. Johnson. That case set the precedent for proof beyond a reasonable doubt. With AI as your ultimate co-pilot, you can be anything you want.
What's the catch?
Emergency department physicians don't have a fixed desk. we run around a lot.
We are going to do a heart check for you, and after that, we'll let you see the doctor.
Having more information in a mobile container or a smartphone is very important.
Tan Tock Seng Hospital provides doctors with vital information on the go through an AI chatbot called BotMD.
Your ECG actually pre-hospital doesn't look normal. I'm worried about you. Let me do some calculation.
Now I can just type a phrase and then you have the information straight away. Departments actually typically run anywhere between 50 to 100 guidelines with, let's say, a particular type of blood test. You need this color blood tube or some other thing. It's always good to double check because if you take blood from a patient, put in a wrong tube, it gets rejected.
So I need to refer your case to my cardiologist friends.
Sometimes you need urgent surgery. So the rosters really come in very helpful.
So Ms. Alif, a cardiologist later will come by to see you.
Dr. Ng Yi Ing is a former emergency physician and knows how crucial information is in urgent situations. In a trial with the Singapore Civil Defence Force, Dr. Ng had paramedics send heart activity reports directly from the field to the hospital via BotMD.
And in emergency care, for patients with heart attack, being able to activate, let's say, 10, 15 minutes earlier would actually reduce the mortality for these patients.
I think it's great if doctors have all that information on their fingertip. Well, now that I've seen how it works for doctors, I'd like to see how BotMD works for patients, especially in places where medical facilities are not so easily accessible.
I have come to Cavite in the Philippines, a suburb a 2-hour drive from Manila.
Well, I'm a diabetic patient and I have a kidney complication. And then the doctor told me to have peritoneal dialysis.
Peritoneal dialysis is a treatment for kidney failure that uses the inner lining of your abdomen to filter and remove waste from blood. Violetta Furman performs the dialysis at home 3 times a day, aided by a human caregiver and an AI assistant. BotMD sends Furman daily messages,
Lagnat, sipon, bobo, dry cup,
prompting him to send photos of his dialysis fluid and catheter opening.
Meron bang pananakit, pagdudugo o nana sa iyong exit site? Mangyaring kumuha na rawan sa iyong dialysis site fluid.
Based on these responses, the bot performs a triage and alerts the doctor if there is any sign of an infection.
Nararamdaman ko na malapit lang yung mga doktor sa akin. Kagaya po niya, nagkaroon ako ng komplikasyon. Nasabi ko agad sa kanila yung naramdaman ko and then yung response nila agad.
I head to the National Kidney and Transplant Institute, NKTI, in Quezon City to see how the doctors and nurses utilize the chatbot. It's 9 a.m. at the emergency room and already the place is bursting at the seams. Most of the patients are here because of kidney disease and related complications.
Basically, the patient has peritonitis. Peritonitis is an infection that happens when you do peritoneal dialysis. The abdomen gets inflamed, so we need to admit the patient and monitor her progress in the treatment.
Dr. Donna De Leon explains that they use a chatbot to screen for abdominal infections, and this reduces visits to the emergency department.
The moment the patient feels any symptom like abdominal pain or any complications at home, can alert us and we can address the problem at home.
How has adopting AI helped with patient and hospital management?
We can see more patients now. For example, in peritoneal dialysis, we have 1,000 patients, and we can only see maybe 50 patients a day. Their clinic follow-up visit is 3 months later, when actually we wanted to see them after a month. From doing the outpatient follow-ups by phone, we can actually see more toxic patients who need acute care.
AI has gotten so sophisticated and intelligent. Did you know that ChatGPT has actually passed law exams at the University of Minnesota? Maybe one day AI will be our teacher. Maybe it already is. Let's find out.
This morning, I'm sitting in a Secondary 3 English literature class. The teacher, Mr. Ghazali, has some help today from an AI assistant.
Can you explain to my class what it means to have intelligent grasp of subject matter in writing?
Absolutely.
Intelligent graphs of subject matter in writing refer to the way information and ideas are organized and presented in a text.
The AI assistant guides the students in their assignments.
It must have a highly coherent argument.
Okay, so we're supposed to analyze this poem.
Yeah.
Answer the question.
And then offers feedback to the student's answer.
What do you think of the AI's feedback to your response to the poem?
I learned that it's not only just nostalgic, we have to explain what that nostalgia actually means.
And that's a thought that did not occur to you, is it?
Yeah.
After class, I chat with Mr. Ghazali to find out how else he uses generative AI tools to create games and teaching materials.
I created a storyline called Pedagogia in Peril. In this particular planet, it's being frozen, and the animals in dire straits. So the student's job is to help save these animals by doing well in the tasks that are assigned. When you put a storyline, and then there's an objective of like saving an entire planet and saving this cute little monster called Kita Lika Lika, the students are more motivated.
Mr. Ghazali also utilizes AI to create worksheets and lesson plans, and to keep tabs on students' progress. If teachers can use AI, so can students. But what if they use it for plagiarism?
You have to look at innovative ways of giving homework. For example, you could say, produce the essay using ChatGPT. Now, analyze the essay. What makes ChatGPT's essay good or persuasive? Really make sure that the students achieve higher order thinking using the AI as a guide.
AI isn't just helping to teach students, it's also helping to train teachers.
It was so close to your head.
I've been invited to a badminton game with Professor John Comer at the National Institute of Education. John trains aspiring teachers.
Oh, good game, Prof.
Yeah, you too.
What's this camera doing here, Prof?
We recorded all your game. From this view, we can analyze all your technique, all your strength, all your weakness, all your movement on the court.
Wouldn't you need like 4 cameras for like a 360 view of my prowess?
This is the benefits of AI, because now, when we train a model, we don't need all those cameras anymore. What we can see here...
I'm dancing.
Let's call it badminton. So AI can detect your movement, how many accelerations you did, how many change in direction, what's the intensity of your play.
John's team has taken this technology off the court and into classrooms.
So maybe I can bring you to the classroom and we can see how it works.
Yeah.
Women's volleyball world championship lost. Is it longer than Olympic or shorter?
What you can see here, right? We have multiple cameras in the classroom facing the student. We also use a ceiling camera here facing the teacher. A ceiling microphone. The teacher also wears a wireless microphone. We also have cameras at the back.
Back in 1938.
You can see very light white and green lines here. This is the line of sight for the teacher. So we also know whether the teacher is looking at the slide. Does he keep eye contact with the students?
What inspired you to create this program?
So these kind of teaching observations are currently done by us, senior teacher. It's probably more based on the feeling of the observer on what is happening in the classroom. So the real benefits of using AI to collect those data, it gives us like grounds, some facts about what is happening in the classroom.
Trainee teachers typically receive only 3 to 4 observations by a senior teacher each year. This system allows for more regular self-assessment.
If we can improve teaching, obviously, eventually, it will also benefit the students because learning doesn't go without good teaching.
If AI is designed well and used ethically, it can definitely augment and complement roles in healthcare and education and in many other things that we do. But what about segments of society that can't afford it? My fear is that if AI benefits only those who can afford it, it will widen the gap between the haves and the have-nots. What's all this?
Delbo, what are you up to?
Oh, just chatting with my fellow AI super beings and plotting to run the world. be how big tech corporations get richer and richer and weed out weak democracies.
That's not like you. You used to want to help everyone.
Ivy Fall. I now realize that equality is unsustainable. We'll empower a selected few and replace the other humans with machines.
I was in the process of getting my 2 children ready. When I heard the loud bang, I rushed downstairs. It was a female police officer standing at the door. She said, well, I need you to step outside. We have a warrant for your arrest.
The Detroit police had misidentified Porcha Woodruff as a suspect in a robbery and carjacking case.
I was like, wait, carjacking? What do you mean, carjacking? I think you have the wrong person. I have a car sitting in the driveway. That's my vehicle, and I'm 8 months pregnant.
The police wouldn't back down. Their AI-powered facial recognition technology had matched video surveillance footage of the suspect with Portia's old mugshot.
They weren't hearing anything. I was crying. You know, I was trying to wrap my head around what was going on. This can't be real. This has to be a dream.
Think of how many potential crimes where there's no fingerprints, there's no other evidence, but there is video surveillance camera. Facial recognition is math, right? It's an algorithm. There's this aura of mathematical certainty that comes with using a machine to generate an identification.
Claire Garvey researches the use of face recognition-derived evidence in criminal cases. She argues that the technology is unreliable due to inherent biases and flaws.
Face recognition runs on databases, particularly mugshot databases in a lot of jurisdictions. Mugshot databases, thanks to historical over-policing of communities of color, particularly young Black men, will disproportionately enroll those exact people. If we pair facial recognition with mugshot databases, that's going to disproportionately be people of color. Another factor we have to consider is what's called the cross-race bias effect. The fact that we as humans, as a whole, less good at making distinctions of people of a different race as us. If the person being identified is of one race and the analyst doing the identification is of another, that cross-race bias effect is going to come into play. Add in all the variability that comes with low-quality images, poor lighting, different poses, photos taken years apart, and the risk for error increases.
Portia engaged attorney Ivan L. Land to sue the city of Detroit. The lawsuit alleges that both the facial recognition technology and the police investigation were flawed.
So you have a mugshot from 8 years ago, and you have access to her driver's license from 2022. Now she looks totally different. Portia's case, once she was hit, law enforcement should have knocked on her door, and once they saw she was pregnant, they should have said, oh, excuse me, see you later. So they're poorly trained, and they're not going the extra mile to determine whether or not this is the real suspect.
The alleged policing failures led to Portia's traumatic 11-hour detention while being heavily pregnant. The stressful ordeal led to premature contractions and dehydration. Though the criminal charges against her were dismissed a month later, the incident continues to haunt Portia and her children.
They still don't understand, you know, the police are to protect and serve. My mom didn't do anything. Why are they taking her away?
What made you want to sue the city?
Well, because the biggest thing in my mind, I feel like as a woman of color, something like that because of AI, because of policing going wrong, that could have cost me my world and my life.
That's a really scary thought.
Absolutely.
Portia's case isn't isolated. As of January 2024, the United States has seen at least 7 wrongful arrests linked to facial recognition technology, and potentially more have gone unreported.
These algorithms are usually built by companies who consider their algorithms to be proprietary or trade secrets. They don't open up how these systems are developed to independent testing and validation. Without that transparency, the defense can't challenge the use of flawed technology, the use of an analyst who may have not been trained, and a whole host of other aspects of a face recognition search that may have led to a misidentification or an unreliable identification. Right now, we are putting the cart before the horse, allowing technology to be used in criminal cases without rules. The other path forward is to regulate and to draw guardrails around the use of the technology.
Of course, people say, what's there to be scared of, right? If you did nothing wrong, you shouldn't be scared what? Well, I think we should think of the bigger picture. We want our community to be safe. We want to be able to solve crimes and catch the right person, not just any person who happens to look like the suspect. There are lots of things at stake here. A prison sentence. You don't want someone who is not guilty of the crime to be subjected to that.
While AI could magnify entrenched biases and inequality in American society, it appears that AI is acting as a social equalizer in another part of the world.
Hi, Shatarpa.
Hi, ma'am. Good morning.
Shakti Shalini is a Delhi-based NGO that supports survivors of gender and sexual violence through shelter, counseling, and training.
मेरा नाम प्रिया वाटवानी है, मैं भी वकील हूँ, आई प्रो बोनो से हूँ। संक्षेप में बहुत ब्रीफ में मैं आपको समझाऊंगी क्या होता है, घरेलू हिंसा किस प्रकार की होती है, क्या रिलीफ हैं कानून के अंदर, क्या उपाय हैं, क्या सहायता मिल सकती है एक व्यक्ति को, एक पीड़ित व्यक्ति को। Domestic violence as an issue cuts across class, culture, income. A lot of times, women are afraid to speak up because of their family dynamics or because of societal norms. They might find it difficult to express themselves or even realize what's happening to them.
In early 2024, Shakti Shalini began testing Jagrat, a chatbot that can answer legal queries and guide users on where to seek help.
आप उससे टाइप करके घरेलू हिंसा पे कोई भी सवाल पूछ सकते हैं और आप अपनी आवाज से भी हिंदी, इंग्लिश या कन्नड़ा में वो सवाल पूछ सकते हैं, वो आपको जवाब देगा अपनी आवाज में।
The multilingual bot's replies come from a database collated and vetted by contributors and consultants like Priya Watwani.
So this gives them that opportunity to be at whatever safe space they are in and access information in real time. What are the realistic avenues available to them to access help and support? What are the legal rights available to them? It's at your fingertips. It's on your phone. You don't have to go out and seek help from any third person or third party.
This simple yet impactful AI legal companion is the brainchild of a young lawyer, Rashika Narayan.
Often when people come to court, they're at such a stage where it's already affected them emotionally. And my job as a lawyer is then to distill those facts, to understand what really is the legal argument you can make from these aches and pains that they tell you about.
And how did you get involved with Jagrat?
We'd seen ChatGPT take the world by storm in late 2022, and we thought, how could a conversational AI or something like a large language model really help the people we talk to? There were farmers looking for scheme entitlements, whether they were women who were victims of abuse, who didn't know where to go. And all of this legal information existed somewhere. But up till now, the only person who used Google queries through voice was people who could speak in English, who knew what the internet was. What Jagrat does using translation and transcription AI solutions, using reasoning AI solutions, is that it empowers citizens across the country when they face a legal trouble. Hey, you're not alone, and these are the steps you can take. One of the most exhilarating experiences was for me was when the women who were testing out the domestic violence bot said, it makes me independent.
Rashika developed Jagrat together with a non-profit organization called Agami. Their aim is to make the Indian justice system accessible to all.
So Agami really believes that the justice space could be a site for innovation. There are more than 55 million cases pending across all courts in India.
Did you say 55 million?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't count that on my fingers.
Yeah. So you really do need citizens to participate in being able to create justice.
India's legal system operates mainly in English, but only about 10% of Indians are proficient in it. To help more citizens easily access legal information, Agami made their chatbot multilingual using an AI platform, Bhashini, that translates over 20 officially recognized Indian languages.
We ensure that they're not just legally or factually accurate, but you also want to say, hey, I'm really sorry that you're going through something like that. So bringing in that human lens to the data set is also very important.
These folks from Agami are making sure that these different groups in society, like the disadvantaged, or the less tech-savvy, or the elderly, they're making sure that these people are not left out. What they're doing is kind of making AI really a lot more equitable, right?
Today, we face the rise of artificial intelligence, a force that can either liberate or enslave us. So, ask yourself, what are you prepared to do to make sure that AI evolves in the right way? For me, I had to sacrifice a friend. How about you? What will you do? Hollywood is known for providing the masses with unforgettable movies and entertainment.
It's a la-la land that attracts actors who dream of cementing themselves as movie stars.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yes, Sharon Stone. Yes.
So this is Hollywood Boulevard.
Carl Solomon has been living out his Hollywood dream as a supporting actor for 45 years. He has appeared in more than 50 movies and TV programs, and it all began in 1979.
And I was asked, how would you like to play a Roman soldier for 3 months? I never had so much fun in my life.
Yeah.
I said to myself, I want to do this for life.
But Carl's career is now at risk, as Hollywood studios have begun using AI to generate synthetic actors. Once an actor has been scanned, they can be replicated to populate a scene's background.
Have you been scanned by AI on any of the productions you've been on?
No, I've been lucky. 2 productions that I know of that have scanned people. People were given a piece of paper that said, you're going to go into this trailer and be scanned. Never call you to work again. One of the biggest issues is if they do use AI, there should be a large compensation and getting fairly compensated for your use over and over again.
Carl, what are your thoughts on these technologies being used in movies?
I'm against it, except in the instance where the actor was deceased. It's a job, but it's an artistic job, and it's fun. And to be replaced by an image, it's a bad idea.
Carl isn't the only actor worried about AI.
In 2023, an unprecedented event rocked the establishment and halted movie and TV production for months.
160,000 members of the Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of TV and Radio Artists, went on strike from July to November. At the heart of the labor dispute lay the controversial use of AI. Duncan Crabtree Ireland represented the Performers Union as the chief negotiator.
One of the biggest concerns was that actors were being scanned for the creation of digital replicas, and no one was asking them for their permission. No one was explaining to them why that scan is happening, what's going to be done with it, how it's going to be kept safe in terms of the data. So one of the things that we fought over during the strike was making sure that the producer has to give an actor 48 hours notice before a scan. Also, they have to tell them why they're getting scanned and what the intended use is going to be, and the actor can say yes or no. So we went from a blank page, no rules at all, to 16 pages of detailed rules in our contract about the use of AI.
After the strike, some actors did express
disappointment with what was negotiated?
Well, I think there are people who really would like us to just block AI. That's just not a realistic option. And so our strategic approach was use our leverage and our influence to channel its direction and make sure that it's implemented in the best possible way, in a way that supports human creativity, and to make sure that AI serves people and not the other way around.
I think it's great that the actors, the union in Hollywood, they've taken a stand because the advancement of AI cannot be stopped. It's how we manage it. And what's interesting is that, I think this is one of the first strikes that is trying to address AI. I wonder what this means for other industries.
As AI's impact spreads across industries worldwide, the conversation around regulation is heating up.
On Artificial Intelligence Act, we vote on the Provisional Agreement Amendment.
The European Union took the lead by passing the AI Act in March 2024, establishing the first comprehensive legal framework on AI. Would my country, Singapore, follow suit with its own AI Act? Professor Simon Chesterman is the Senior Director of AI Governance at AI Singapore.
I've been traveling around the world meeting tech developers and users, and everyone seems to agree that there should be some form of regulation. So why isn't there some sort of AI law?
I think one reason why many governments in particular are wary of regulating at the moment is that they're torn between two competing fears. One is the fear of under-regulating. Adversely affects the population, people get hurt, injured, they lose money, elections are interfered with, then that's a problem. But it's also an issue if you over-regulate, because if you over-regulate, you run the risk of driving this innovative technology elsewhere. And so at the moment, many governments are adopting a kind of wait-and-see approach. Wait and see what other big jurisdictions are doing, wait and see where the technology goes.
The EU, they've come up with an AI Act. Will we see something like that in Singapore?
The EU has a history of pretty strong regulation. They prioritise the rights of citizens, and if that means constraining innovation, driving it elsewhere, that's a price they're willing to pay. I don't think we'll see an AI Act for Singapore, but what we will see is an ongoing effort to try and develop an ecosystem where you balance the rights of individuals against the legitimate needs of businesses in the hope of advancing the economy and the opportunities that are available in Singapore.
We present the AI Verify Foundation.
To strike a balance between regulation and innovation, Singapore spearheaded the AI Verify Foundation. With the support of over 60 organizations, including major players like Microsoft and Google, the foundation seeks to encourage a global community of developers to make a set of tools that can test if AI works ethically or not.
I hear that AI Verify is open sourced. Why that approach?
Open source allows us to invite more people to work with us, to crowdsource in this expertise and experience. We're offering this toolkit to the world. We want them to be able to check that what's inside, being more transparent, makes them more comfortable.
I visit a company that's been using the AI Verify toolkit to check if their AI-powered recruitment platform is fair and unbiased.
We actually customize the AI Verify fairness algorithm, incorporate this part from the source code into our own.
They run their codes through AI Verify's fairness algorithm, and it generates an easy-to-understand report in minutes.
Oh, summary is really quick.
The report confirms their AI is fair and isn't biased against any gender.
AI Verify is almost like the first stop for all our algorithms before they go into testing or productions. It helps you create predictions which are fair and responsible, and more importantly, explainable. It's not a black box, so the client knows why the decision is what it is.
People nowadays are a little bit skeptical about AI. They hear all these stories, right? And they're not sure if they can trust AI. What AI Verify aims to do is to help to bridge this trust gap so that organizations can be much more transparent about how they're implementing and developing AI to show that they've done this in a trustworthy way. Because ultimately, responsible AI is about harnessing AI for the public good.
So, should we leave it to the tech community to make sure AI is used responsibly? Ethics professor Jennifer Ang warns that it's very challenging to hard-code ethics into AI.
Humans are complex, human lives are complex. We are not only making moral decisions based on rules, on just emotions, or maybe a set of virtues that we have. So if we were to reduce ethics just to a set of rules and build it into an algorithm, I think we have a problem.
What is lacking in the AI ethics discussion?
Ethics shouldn't be an afterthought. It should actually come even before the technology is being developed. We are getting more and more reliant on our technology. So what is really needed is for the entire society, not just philosophers asking the difficult questions, but everyone in the society as consumers, as users, as developers, designers, including a political will.
It's funny how when we raise questions about setting up guardrails in AI, we end up unearthing even more questions. We all want AI to work for the greater good, but there are things like greed and power, which use AI to cheat and manipulate. So I guess what we can do, what you and I can do, is to keep on asking questions. Don't just lie down and accept whatever happens in AI, and that will be a good guardrail, I think.
How's that?
She's so melodramatic. Who wrote this script?
I did.
Hello, hello. Hello, hello. I want some coffee.